Jeff, what can Detroit Lions fans expect from the offense if DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown are unavailable against Seattle at home on Sunday?
Well, you missed that big playability. That's what DeAndre Swift brings. I mean, he's a home run hitter, and you can see it with Jamal Williams. Jamal isn't no slouch, but he isn't DeAndre Swift. What he can do in the passing game. The biggest thing for me, and I'm just disappointed, not disappointed in DeAndre, but I'm disappointed that he's hurt. Like, this has been a reoccurring thing with DeAndre Swift, and we were really excited for this season. Not just us, but Deuce Staley spoke highly about how he wants to push DeAndre, and he's been doing it. I mean, you see it week 1, over 150 yards, fouls it up, limited against the Commanders, but they still find a way to win. Had that big, 40-yard run, and then now against the Vikings, he was just getting less and less, playing less and less. And then the Vikings, he obviously injures his shoulder, already dealing with that ankle injury. It's never good news, man, when anybody gets injured, but specifically DeAndre, man. This has been a lingering thing with DeAndre. And I think it's tough for most Lions fans to process it, because if you look at DeAndre coming out, or if you at least reflect back to when DeAndre came out of college, what was the number one thing people were saying, at least scouts? Out of all the running backs available, DeAndre has the less workload, especially at a collegiate level. He only played his last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, compared to Jonathan Taylor, who played every single season and had a lot of carries. So in terms of the amount of carries they had coming out of college, DeAndre had the least. So you think he'd be the most durable. But it's been the opposite. And I think that's where probably the frustration comes in, because this offense is as good as it is. DeAndre is really what makes this thing. It takes this offense to a whole nother level. And don't even get me started with Amon-Ra St. Brown, because that's another piece of this offense. I mean, he's our number one wide receiver. So for me, Adam, DeAndre Swift, the news, it's never a good thing. For me personally, now looking back, should he have even played against the Vikings? Because in 7 carries, he had 30 yards. Like, I just would rather, in that instance, not give him the 7 carries. I'd rather rest
I don't
him
know
that
what
week.
to think anymore, because he may sit the next 2 games, then have the bye week, and then return. And at this point, I think it's a lost cause, man. It's just trending into a direction where you're eventually going to have to part ways with him. He can't stay healthy, and there's nothing you, me, or anybody can do about it.
Right.
So I'm not sure what the deal is there. St. Brown, if he misses this week, that's going to be a tough game against Seattle, because I think moving the ball, like you saw,
right,
once St. Brown twisted his ankle,
struggled.
Your offense completely changed throwing the football. Look, we like Chark. We like Reynolds. They are not the 1 and 2s. St. Brown for you on any given play, along with Swift, is the 1 and 2. That's the combination. Mm-hmm. And if you are to miss both against Seattle, it'll take a heroic coaching and defensive effort to win that football game. You're going to see a game plan similar to what you saw against Pittsburgh last year. Run the football. Craig Reynolds, Jamal Williams, run the rock. That's all you're going to do. And then you're going to try to set up Goff on play action and take your shots when you can. That's going to be a difficult game to really play without one or both. And I would say without Swift, you lose all home run hitting ability in the backfield, obviously in the run game. And without St. Brown, I'm not sure how you throw the football effectively at the level you have thrown so far, that being Jared Goff, through the first 3 games. I'm not sure how you move the ball outside of turning around and hoping the offensive line continues to do what it's doing, and hand it off to Reynolds, hand it off to Williams. It is concerning.
And I think that's one thing, I'm glad you brought that up too, because with Amon-Ra St. Brown, their ability to move the football, that's what I'm concerned about, because you're asking now, DJ Chark, TJ Hawkinson, those guys to step up, and they just haven't done that so far. So you're counting on those guys against Seattle at home. And I think DJ Chark, he still can be utilized. He was utilized very early in that Vikings game. He had 2 catches for 40 yards, and he kind of just fell off after that. But TJ is the one I'm really looking for. I mean, he has to step up, especially against this linebacker core for Seattle, who's got some talent. They don't have Bobby Wagner. They don't have Jamal Adams anymore. He's out for the foreseeable future. So a lot of guys got to step up, Adam. But I'm with you. I think for Swift, the problem I have with this offense without Swift is for defenses to come in and actually bite on a play action. You have to believe that the running back is that much of a threat. And Jamal is a threat, but DeAndre is what makes them bite. I mean, that's the guy that you have to pay attention to. And if he's not playing, it's going to hurt this offense. It's going to hurt Goff. It's going to hurt everything. But this offensive line, you've seen what they can do with other running backs. They can produce 100-yard backs like it's nobody's business. And they did it last year. They had Craig Reynolds. He got over 100 yards when he played last season. But DeAndre is that home run hitter.
There's a difference in how we achieve those 100 yards, though, right?
Absolutely.
With Swift, he could do it in
couple
5
plays.
carries.
Yeah, he can do it in a couple
With
plays.
Jamal and Reynolds, it'll take a minimum of 15, 17, 19, 20, 22 carries. And that is a huge commitment to make on offense, especially if the run game is not working. The game becomes very tricky without Swift, almost impossible to me without Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not sure how you compensate for not having your 2 best players on offense. The St. Brown injury, should he rest? Should he take the week against Seattle, come back for Foxborough, and then go into the bye week and recover then? Or do you sit him, like we're reportedly hearing, with Swift the next 2 games?
For me, looking at what Amon-Ra's done, he has never missed a game. So in that instance, I would, if he's ready to go, I'm letting him go. Like, it's different between DeAndre telling you I can play and, him telling you he could play. Like, Amon-Ra's been consistent, and he even, I know he wasn't as effective after that ankle injury, but now you have a week to rest that ankle. You play at home. You're going to have the adrenaline going. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if he played. But overall, I mean, if you don't have DeAndre Swift or Amon-Ra St. Brown in this game, I mean, that's an issue. I mean, that's a problem. And I do see this Seattle game, which we will get into later in the week, as a very important game. Because you can't drop that game. You have 3 out of the first 4 games at home, and you're telling me you'd lose a potential 2 out of the 3. Like, that's the problem I have. But overall, Adam, if he doesn't play, I'm fine with it. I think it's probably better to keep him healthy. But DeAndre should not. I mean, that man needs to take at least probably the 2 weeks for DeAndre. But Amon-Ra's been mostly, I guess you could say, a juggernaut. He's played through injury, so
yeah,
I think it's different for him than DeAndre.
And they did say it looks promising early on from St. Brown's injury, so we're not too concerned there. But it is a daunting feat to try and go win any football game without your 2 best players, I could say, on the entire football team, outside of Penei Sewell. Your 2 most explosive, dynamic offensive weapons, unavailable. Not healthy. That is a problem for Seattle. And let's talk about Seattle. What problems do Seattle pose to the Lions? Well, in the ground game, Seattle is one of the worst teams in stopping the run. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. But they also have a wide receiver tandem that is a problem.
Right.
And you are going to have to make a decision. And who's going to beat you? Bend, don't break. Not get beat downfield by DK or Tyler Lockett. It is an interesting game on Sunday. And that's why I mentioned it will take a defensive effort. Because I think you'll be able to run the ball effectively. Mm-hmm. But can you move the ball on 3rd down? Can you move it on 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8? Can you move the football? That's the key to the game just from now. Now, St. Brown comes back, we can have a different conversation. But as of right now, I would say no Swift for sure.
Yeah, he shouldn't play.
And then Amon-Ra, if he's a go, how healthy? What can I get out of him?
Right. And I think if you're looking at John Brown, his father, John Brown would tell him to go drink some spit and get in that game. So, for Amon-Ra, I'm not too concerned, but you're right, Adam. I mean, for Seattle, too, the thing I'm most interested to see, and it's a little off topic, but I want to bring it up, is that offensive line. You mentioned it. They're struggling to run the ball. I'm curious to see what this defensive line does, because at home, this defense does have to step up with the absence of now Amon-Ra and Swift. Like, they really do. I mean, you're giving up the most points in football, and 3 out of the first 4 games, like I said, are at home. So it's not like you can really, confidently say, well, at home, this defense should be able to step up. They just haven't done that. But they are first facing the worst team they've played, so they have a chance to do that. We'll see. But it's a big deal. You might not have Amon-Ra and Swift. I mean, that's huge.